Hey everyone, my name's Mike. I'm 29 years old and I live in upstate New York. And I recently left a promising and stable sales career that I've spent the past 6 years working hard at for a nice global company, well respected. And I basically left that to go all in on real estate with no guarantee of success whatsoever. I have no idea if this is the biggest mistake of my life or the best decision of my life, and it's kind of terrifying to be in this position after having worked so hard for the past few years. And it's definitely not a conventional path. No one around me has really made this decision or anything like it, and I've faced a lot of discouragement from my family and friends, and people thinking that it's risky or unstable. And there kind of came a point where I'm just like, man, I don't want to be 90 years old and on my deathbed wondering what if. Like, what if I had just had the courage to leave and just see where it takes me? Like, even if it's just a year, sales jobs will always be there, especially if you have the experience. So I was met with this great opportunity to be a sales manager, the six-figure base that I had always wanted as a kid. And, I turned it down because as I've grown the past few years and matured a bit and realized kind of what I want in my life, I've realized that I don't necessarily want to make the most amount of money. I think the American dream was always, hey, make the six figures, take care of your family. And, I think that's great and there's nothing wrong with it. But for me, I've started to really appreciate experiences and realized how time really is our most precious asset. I've dealt with a lot of loss in my family, especially on my father's side, where I don't think there's really any of his relatives left. They've all passed on. And just to kind of see the way that they lived their lives and how hard they worked, and they never really truly got to enjoy their life. And that saddens me, because we're given one life. And if you've seen that video of the top regrets of dying people, one of the biggest regrets they have is that they didn't live a life true to themselves and that they gave too much weight to the opinions of others. And so that video always stuck with me, and I'm like, man, this is not how I want to live my life, the one life God's given me. And so through a lot of prayer and seeking out mentorship and asking for other people's experiences doing real estate, I just decided to take the leap of faith. I feel like the Lord has kind of opened some doors for me, and I'm gonna start walking through those doors. And I just wanted to make this video to potentially help anyone out there who is discouraged or lacking the confidence to make a tough decision with their life. It's okay if you don't know how you're gonna get from A to B. I'm a big overanalyzer and a planner, and I'm thinking about every variable and how things could go wrong. And there comes a point where it's like, dude, just let go and let God take care of it, right? You're going to stress yourself out to death. It's not worth it. And if you've controlled what you can control with the information just take the leap. Just jump. Go watch the Steve Harvey jump video on YouTube where it talks about making the jump. I can maybe put the link in the description here. I was working corporate sales and really loved my colleagues. And it's interesting, I was placed on a team and a lot of them were 10, 15 years older than me. So different stages of life. They had kids, families, all pretty much married. Meanwhile, I'm over here single, no kids, and pretty much looking ahead to what's in store. And, a lot of them just felt this pessimism about their lives, right? Like a lot of them would talk a little bit about what they wish they would have done. And it always stuck with me because I'm like, man, this is what I have to look forward to. All these people that are in these positions around me or ahead of me, above the chain, like they're all kind of dwelling on what they should have done with their career. It's like, man, so rising the corporate ladder really isn't something great to look forward to, at least for me, right? Because they didn't seem happy. They almost seem miserable and just constantly stressed. And I'm like, man, this is no way to live. Right? Like, yeah, you can make great money, but if you're not present with your family, if you can't enjoy life's, simple experiences, going out on a walk because your mind is consumed by if this deal is going to close, like, it's just not worth it. Like, I made half the money that I did recently a couple of years ago when I was first starting out, and man, I was probably double or triple the happiness. And so that kind of proved to me, like, man, as long as you can cover your base financial needs, like, the money is just not the answer. You know, it says the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil, and I truly believe that. You know, and it can really take hold of you and be an idol in your life if you chase it. So anyways, I realized over time that the corporate life just wasn't for me, man. It was good, it was bad, it was really a roller coaster. I'm grateful for it, very grateful for it, because without it I wouldn't even have been in the position to take this leap of faith. But yeah, I chose to leave. You know, I wasn't excited to wake up in the morning, you know, and it was kind of interesting because I'm like, man, I would much rather be you know, waking up in the morning and cleaning out like a moldy basement, you know, on a real estate flip. Like, to me, that just, like, that was a wild comparison that most people would call me crazy, but it's like, man, I love the idea of taking a piece of crap property, something that just looks so crappy, that's an eyesore, and turning it into something beautiful that someone can appreciate. So I'm not over here some real estate mogul, but I have done a couple to establish a proof of concept for making this decision. And man, I'm fired up to wake up in the morning and start my day and work on the next project. So that's kind of how I knew too, man. Like, I need to do something in my life, right? Nothing changes if nothing changes. And so I decided to change something. I said, Lord, like, I don't know if this is going to lead to success, but I'm just trusting you, and I'm still trusting him. You know, this is a journey. I haven't even reached a great point of success, I would say. I'm still starting at the bottom. I'm a very small fish right now. But I just want to document this journey and show you, you know, the challenges that I face as I try to grow and build my portfolio. And just to see if this ends up being a great decision or a horrible mistake, I don't know. Only time will tell. But I've written a letter with myself that I've reached a certain point. Time just hasn't caught up yet. So I'm dedicated to making this work. And man, I would just encourage anyone out there, like, if you're at a crossroads in your life, go seek out someone who's in the spot that you would like to be, and share your situation with them, and let them know what resources you have and where you're at, and bounce ideas off them and see what they say. You know, a lot of times they may believe in you more than you believe in yourself. And that was the case for me. All of them are like, Mike, you know, at this point you're just scared. You're scared of failing. They're like, you need to burn the boats. You can't give yourself an exit plan. You need to leave. Okay? Like, you've done a couple projects or flips before. You've done well. You have the skills necessary. You have the sales background. You can make it work. And sometimes you need to get it through that thick skull. I mean, my thick skull, right? I'm a stubborn Italian. You know, I'm not really proud of that. But it takes multiple people drilling that through my head for me to really believe it. But yeah, guys, kind of a video that drags on, but I'm sure I'll get more into my story and the more specifics, but I just wanted to just make a video. You know, I'm done consuming. I want to start to share my story. If there's someone out of college that's pursuing a career and maybe their family's discouraging them, man, I want them to see this, right? I want them to believe in themselves, right? Because, like, what is a life? You're doing what your family wants or what society thinks is sexy. Like, be true to yourself. You want to wake up each morning excited to start the day. And I'm willing to bet, if it's not a high-paying field, like, you can find a way to monetize it and become successful from a financial standpoint, as long as you're passionate. Because if you're passionate, it's going to shine through, and people will appreciate that. And so, man, I get fired up talking about real estate, right? So I'm excited to start this journey with you guys and share a little bit. You know, I've done one live-in flip. So I think I bought my first house in 2022 or 2023, and this is when I was still living with my parents, taking every paycheck to pay off my car and then my student loans, because I wanted to have a nice strong foundation before I started, no debt lingering over me. Praise God for clearing the debt. and allowing me the job at the company to clear that debt. Super grateful not to have that chain on me. And so I bought my first property, lived in it for 2 years, fixed it up over time. You know, my father's a jack of all trades, so another thing, right? Like, I'm blessed with someone that learned how to do a lot of things and was very handy, and it's super inspiring to me because he never had, you know, Google or YouTube. He just learned through trial and error. So it's like, what excuse do I have, right? I have YouTube University. I can go learn how to fix pretty much whatever. So that's given me inspiration. But spent the first 2 years fixing up that property, and that was a full project. That needed everything. It was fully gutted when I bought it, and there was mold damage. I think the only thing the previous guy did was put a new roof on it. He was a flipper, and something happened with his partnership, so we had to sell from his partner. So I bought it, and just countless hours after work, putting in weekend work, several hours, you know, always just 12 hours days, you know, learning from my dad how to do certain things, and basically fixing the property up. Long story short, I sold it a year ago, and I had purchased another property right before I had sold that house to fix up this one that I'm in now, and I just listed this for sale. This took me about a year working on it as well. Unfortunately, won't be able to sell it tax-free because I've only lived in it a year, but the other one I was able to sell tax-free, so that was really nice. So that's kind of my proof of concept. I'm like, man, if I can fix up this complete dump that was condemned and vacant for 6 years that no one wanted to invest in, and fix it up and make a solid profit, I'm like, if I'm still excited to wake up in the morning and do real estate, like, this is my sign that this could be for me. And so that project was probably the worst of the worst. And I'm like, man, if I could survive this, I can do other projects. So moved on to this one. This was a pretty big uplift, not as big as the other one, and listing it now. And I also just bought a duplex that is really in rough shape as well. And so that's going to be the project that I'm going to pretty much document moving forward. I'm going to do my best to aggregate like all my old content of my old properties and try to find a way to document that. Maybe I'll have someone edit that, and so you guys can see some of the work that I did. But moving forward, it's pretty much going to be the duplex that I'm working on. So I have to put a new roof on, new siding, renovate the entire inside of the 2 units. I have to basically demo an existing in-ground pool, cave it in, backfill it, and I want to turn it into on-site parking for tenants, because right now it's just on-street parking. So yeah, that's a little bit about my story and my situation. Thanks for coming to my long TED Talk here. I'll try to keep these videos shorter in the future, depending on feedback. But yeah, I'm excited to share more of my journey, and thanks for tuning in. Have a great day.